All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get started, and those that are coming in can join in when they get in. So we're going to talk today a little bit about video. Video is such an important component, and just curious, let me pop up a question here, and let's see here. Quick little poll. Give me an idea of what you're using for video. Are you using video? If so, where are you using your video at? And we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. So while we're getting everybody situated, make sure the chat's open in case we need that. All righty. Okay. So if you're using video, let me know. Just curious because I just want to see, where we are on things. So good. All right. Very good. I'm gonna go ahead and leave the poll open for a few minutes. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and close it so I can start my screen share, and we will get this show on the road. All right, so video. If you look at any media, if you look at any of the any trade journals, anything about marketing, you're going to find out that everybody says video is still one of the hottest trends out there. And why is that? Well, the main reason is because we live in an edutainment world. And I didn't make up the phrase, somebody else did, but I love I love what it means, because we want to be entertained, but we want to be educated at the same time. So when I'm talking about edutainment, it's the process of providing information, but keeping the attention of your audience through some entertainment, through entertainment means as well, multimedia. And that's what video does. So the importance of video, just a few things that are important. 80% of the people surveyed said they would rather watch live video than read a blog. We're lazy. We want to read. Tell me what I'm reading. I don't want to have to read it. 82% prefer a live video to a social post. So again, the aspect of a video adds so much more power to your presentation. 96% of consumers find video helpful when making a purchase decision. 48% of consumers said they made a purchase due to watching a video on Instagram. 95% of people have watched an explainer video, a how-to. I know we've all done that. How many times have you gone to YouTube and popped up something to tell you how to do something? That's what an explainer video is. So 95% of people have watched that. 8 billion videos are watched every day on Facebook. Every day, 8 billion. Imagine the number on YouTube. Using a video on a website landing page can increase your conversion by 80%. What is the best way to keep your audience on your page for a longer amount of time, which is a factor that Google likes when they look at ranking your site. And it's video. Video is an outstanding way to do that. Just a few stats. The kind of content do you want to see from a brand or business you support? 54% said video, and that's about a 2-year-old number, so that number has gone up considerably. So let's talk about some social video strategies. The first thing you want to do is identify the purpose of the video. What are you trying to do with your video? Is it going to be to build traffic, build your brand trust? Is it going to boost conversions, generate leads? What do we want to do with our video? That's one of the important questions that you need to ask. Secondly, brainstorm some topics. So what are some topics that you would want to cover in your video? Do you want to do some analytics? You want to research keywords to find out what topics are hot for your industry. What do your analytics say about the traffic? What are the analytics on your social media posts? There's a site called Answer the Public. So you might want to check there and see what questions are being asked. And then keep track of your top performing content. Those are ideas for creating your video. And it's usually really easy to do. You know, if you think about the things that you get asked all the time, those are always questions that you can utilize for your social media sites and answer those. So keep that in mind as to what are some things you might want to use for your topics. Think about using social media video on Facebook. Think about Instagram, LinkedIn, and of course, YouTube. All are great sources and they have their own audience. So you want to make sure you utilize your videos across the board. What are some of the types of videos? Well, demo videos, how things work. So if you need to explain something about your process, then a demo video is what you would want to do. So you can show people how to access clear the cache on their computer memory, or how to read a particular stock chart, or what are some of the different how to go about creating an effective print piece of collateral, or choosing the right promotional items. Brand videos. These are important because the brand video is your mission, it's your vision, it's your services. This is what you find on the homepage of your website. This is what you find an intro on your LinkedIn page, or maybe a tagged video that you put in the header of your Facebook page. So this is your opportunity to tell people what you do and how things work. It's your time to tell people what makes you different. So the brand video is an important piece for a small business because it's your face-to-face contact with your prospect, and that's what you're trying to do. Expert interviews. Interview your customers. These are also very powerful. I've done several of those, and they can be very powerful because not only do you get to showcase another business, but they're also going to promote your business because you interviewed them. So those are really an effective tool, and I've done several of those. How-to videos, similar to demo, they're explainer type videos. They can be animation type videos. But these are, again, effective. The explainer video that can maybe not so much as how things work, but a step-by-step process. And this would be an example of a explainer video because I'm teaching you how to do something, how to create a concept, and how do you implement that into your business. Live video is also very effective. People like the live video aspect, and they understand that it's not always going to be perfect. So you don't have to worry about, when you do a live video, you don't have to worry about it being very precise and exact. They know you're going to make mistakes, so you just sort of go with it and laugh it off if you need to. But you always want to start with a script, and your script should start with an outline. If you're like me, I mean, I tend to do a lot of things off the cuff. I start with the idea that I want to cover, and then I sort of let it flow, but I do always have an outline, and that's one of the reasons I like to work with a PowerPoint presentation like this, because it's my outline for my script. I don't have it written out as far as to word for word what I'm going to say. Obviously, you can tell sometimes in my presentation I may stumble and stammer a little bit, but for the most part, it's I always work with an outline. Occasionally, we'll work with a script if I'm using my blog and I want to stay on point with the specific keywords and specific verbiage. You may be more comfortable with a script, and if that's the case, that's great. There are some tools out there that make that easy for you, and I'll cover a couple of those in a few minutes. Don't make viewers wait uh, to find out what your purpose is. They won't stick around. You need to tell them in the very beginning what the purpose for this video is. Get to the point and then tease them and then pull them along through the video. Don't don't tell a long story that's going to eventually get to the video, because you may lose them. Keep the language relaxed, clear, and conversational. Your video should be just the way you would talk to an individual. It should be just simply a conversation you would be having one-on-one, face-to-face with someone else. If we're meeting face-to-face with somebody, we're not stiff and rigid. Our approach to marketing of your business would be something like that. No, we don't talk that way. Don't make your video like that. Relaxed, clear, conversational. You're going to resonate much better with the viewer than if you're stiff and very formal. Make it in first person. Remember, in your video, you're talking to one person. One. Okay? We change our mindset if we talk to one person than if we're presenting to a group. If we're up in front of an audience and we're presenting to 500 people, we got a different approach. But on your video, you're talking to one person, the person that's viewing it. Now, you may have 500 people that view it, but you're still talking to the one person that views that video. So keep that in mind, because it does change your mindset when you're doing that. 350 words is about equal to 2 minutes in time based on normal speech patterns and the way people talk. So keep in mind, if you're trying to write out your script, this is a guideline for how long so if you've got a 700 word script, it's going to probably be a 4-minute video. So keep that in mind when you're trying to craft your script there. Some tips on filming your video. You want to film your video horizontally for most platforms. So if you're doing your phone, you hold it this way. You hold it horizontal, which is counter to what most people do. When we use our phone, we typically use it vertically. But on most everything, with the exception of Instagram, shooting your video horizontal looks much better on all the platforms, regardless of where you're going to use it. It's going to work great on LinkedIn. It's going to work great on YouTube. It's going to work great on Facebook. It's going to work great in your website. So keep that in mind. Shoot now and edit later. That's another tip, because if you use some simple video editing software, you can shoot your video, go in, and most editing software, even the simplest ones, will let you cut pieces out so that if you make a mistake, you can stop, cut it, and then start back up. Make sure you allow enough headspace at the top of your frame. You never want to be, have your video where you're right up against the top, because it just the spatial balance of the video gets off if you do that. If you're up front, up close, and you got to cut something off, then cut off the top of the head rather than the chin. But you should try to allow enough space that you can get a full, the full headshot in there of the video that you're doing. Virtual videos for Instagram, I've mentioned that already. And then when you output your videos, output them as an MP4. I know if you do them in an iPhone, they want to tend to do it as the iMovie or the movie format or whatever the Apple format is. But keep in mind that may not be consistent and it may not work on all platforms. So as a result, you should have a setting. If you're using an iPhone or an iPad, you should have a setting that lets you output your videos as MP4. That's a universal. Just a little tip there, because I've run into that before, especially people that have sent me videos to add to their website, and I can't open it or can't edit it because it's in a proprietary Apple software that I don't use. So some tips on making a good video. Your phone works great, but you use the rear-facing camera. It's always a better camera than the front-facing one. Now it does make it a little difficult to then monitor and see what your to see, you know, make sure that everything's running. So sometimes I've rigged up when I've done videos and I can't monitor from that. I've rigged it up on a tripod with a mirror behind it so that I could see the, you know, the screen that's and record and make sure everything's working. I highly recommend using a tripod, and I've got a really cool tripod that's a selfie stick. Actually, I'll grab it. And it looks something like this. Probably can't see it in the screen, but it does allow me to either use it as a selfie stick, or it allows me to put it on a tripod. In fact, the camera that I have, two of them. One of them I have for my phone. The other I have my webcam is on that. So it's rather than use it off of the top of my monitor, which sort of limited me as where I could put it, I just mounted it to this little tripod selfie stick, and it works great because now I can move it wherever I need. I can raise the height, lower the height if I need to, adjust it, and do anything I want. And keep my monitors, because I have two monitors, so if I'm working off two, then it actually sits between my two monitors so that now I can glance side to side and see the progress of the webinar as well as the notes on the slideshow. I also recommend using an external mic, a lavalier type of mic that clips on your lapel. It gives you much better sound quality. Depends on how far away your video is and your camera is, or if you're using a webcam, then obviously you see I use an external mic, because on a webcam I get echoes from the room. Same with your phone. You're going to get echoes from your room. You're going to get, you know, a lot, maybe background noise or sound from, if you're doing outside, you're going to get some wind noise and sound. So I always recommend an external mic, and I'll give you some resources for that in a few minutes. If you're shooting inside, you might need to look at lighting. Having good lighting is one of the best things you can do, because if you see shadows, or if I were to open the window and turn on, you know, take my virtual background down and then open the window, you would not see my face. You would see a glow. It would just be because the window behind me would let light in, and the window's at my back, so that's not the best place, because then it puts my face in shadow. So pay attention to the lighting. They do make a really an inexpensive ring light that you can actually mount your camera or your phone inside the ring light and then turn it on. They're usually adjustable with different light settings and brightness, intensity, even white to yellow light. So that's all, again, a recommendation if your current lighting is not adequate. And then the video background, you want to make sure you have a good background. Now, maybe I don't always recommend a green screen. To utilize a green screen, you do have to have a little bit more editing software to cut out the background color. But you know, you could always record through Zoom and use a virtual background. But if nothing else, just try to have a solid wall that's not distracting. You can have things, it doesn't have to be a plain blank wall. That doesn't always look good either. So make sure that you have just, you know, a nice background that's not too busy, but it's something that you can work with. The resources that I use, the tripod that I use, most of these are available on Amazon. It's a Yunting, I guess it is, tripod. It does have a Bluetooth remote in there. I think it's about 20 bucks. So it has a Bluetooth remote, so you can actually use it to start your phone or to start the video on your phone. I use two different lavalier mics. The Power Device is one that I use. It's about 40 bucks. It's a little better. It has 15 feet of cable to it, so it plugs into the headphone jack on your phone, and so it gives you enough room to get far enough away so it's not right in your right in your face. So it gives you plenty of cable. I've also used the Pop Voice. I actually have the Pop Voice that has 2 microphones built in. So if I'm doing an interview, some of you may have seen videos I've done with Lisa McDonald. Those were done with the Pop Voice. We each had a lapel mic, and so it does a great job of keeping the sound workable for both. The ring light, usually they're different prices, $45 to $65. They'll go on up, but you make sure where you're going to use it. The one I have is probably extends up to about 5 feet. So it sits over my monitor behind my camera. I'm sorry, and I will use it periodically. And then if you want to do a webcam, I highly recommend a 1080p webcam. You can find them about $50 and up. Mine was at Logitech, but it's for some reason Logitech's pricing went through the roof. I think I paid $100 for it, and now it's probably close to $200. So, but I do like it. It puts out great quality, but you do want a 1080p. That's the biggest thing, because that is high. That's high definition and puts out good quality. Over the years, I've had lesser qualities of 710 pixel, 710p, and the quality of the photo was grainy and not very good. So just a couple of resources for you to review. Also, if you want to use a script, there are some teleprompter apps. One of them that I've used and played with is Parrot Teleprompter. Works on Mac and Androids. And so what you could do is you could input your script into your tablet, have it running, and then just read along. It does take some practice. I will tell you this, I don't like using the teleprompter very often, because I tend to be a little more stiff if when I'm doing it. I don't tend to be as relaxed, but you might be good at it. And it's just because I haven't used it that much, and I sort of off the cuff most everything I do anyway. So, but you may find that it's important, and so give it a try. And if you work with it, I'm sure you'll get better use out of it. Once you have your videos completed, now what do you want to do with it? Well, you can post. You never want to post your video directly on your own website. Most websites are not designed to stream video. They are designed they can play video. And so what I do is I always load mine up either to YouTube, and there's some advantages to YouTube, and you can create a channel, and I'll talk about some things in YouTube here in just a minute. You can embed your video into your website, being YouTube, or Vimeo is the other site that I use a lot of. I'll tend to use YouTube if I'm making the video public. If I want to make it private and put it on my, say, the member section of my website, then I'll use Vimeo, because they're not as easily searched, and the content stays a little more private and easier to control. A couple of YouTube how-tos. If you don't have a YouTube account, I definitely recommend you create one. If you have a Gmail account, you basically have a YouTube account. All you got to do is go over to YouTube and activate it. But having the YouTube account is essential, because that's a search engine. And the more content you put in there and reference back to your website, the better it is, the more effective your search engine optimization will be. Create some cover art for your channel, and there's some very specific sizing on that. I'll probably do a little video on how to create that cover art, because it's a little confusing, but it is important to have that brand, so that when you go there, it conveys your brand and keeps that consistency of brand message. You then upload your video. There's a little camera in the upper right-hand corner of your YouTube channel. Mouse over the camera, and it says upload. Or you can also go live from there, but you upload your video. Once you do that, you want to add a title. Make sure the title is not the default that comes out of the camera. Make sure your title is descriptive of what the video is about, because keep in mind, this is the hook. This is what gets people to pay attention to your video and click on it to watch it. Even if you place it other places, even if it's on your website or whatever, people want to know what the video is about before they just blindly click. The description is one of the ninja tricks that I always have to tell people about, because the description, number one, obviously you want to describe the content of the video so the visitor knows what it's about, but start your description with the full URL to your website. https://800bizninja.marketing. I put that in every video because I don't know where somebody's going to watch my video. And I want them to see that if, two things, I want them to see, wow, that's really good. I wonder what else they've done. They can click and follow the link to my website. Or two, Google can follow the link to my website and know that I have new content. So for two reasons, I use the full URL. You have to put in the full https://, otherwise it won't make the link active. You want to add tags, which are basically keywords to your website. So adding the tags in place tells the reader what this video is about. If they're searching for marketing tips, then and you use marketing tips as one of your keywords, then it makes it more readily searchable in Google and in YouTube as well. You want to the top results. I said the G word and my phone woke up. That was interesting. You want to create a custom thumbnail. For me, having the custom thumbnail is an important piece, because if I invariably Google, YouTube, Facebook, any of the sites invariably will search through the video and find the one picture of you with your eyes closed and your mouth open. And that's what they use as a custom thumbnail. Doesn't look very professional, doesn't look very inviting. So as a result, I always, in my graphic program, whether it be Canva or one of my graphic programs that I use, Fireworks or whatever, I create a custom thumbnail. And you'll see, you've seen my videos. If you go to the website, the Ninja Marketing Dojo site, you'll see my website. They all have the same branded cover, video thumbnail. And so it's really simple. Once you create that, you just simply upload it in the spot where it says, let us pick your thumbnail or create your own. Just create your own and add it there. You then need to choose your audience. So you need to say whether it's for kids or not. This is an important privacy thing that implemented earlier last year, or back last year, because there are some privacy issues with kids. So I always put mine where they're not for kids. I'm not that there's anything in here that would be objectionable for them, but it's not. I don't want to be saddled with the the Google or YouTube, excuse me, with YouTube saying that oh well, if it's for kids, then we need to make sure you have the specific criteria. You then set your visibility. You can set it to public, which means everybody can see it. You can set it at instant premiere, which means that you get a little premiere button that said it's a new video and announces it to people that are following you. You can do it unlisted, which means it's going to be anybody can watch it if they have the URL, but they can't find it in a search. And then private. Private means that only people that you give the URL can watch it, and that is a limited number. So you don't, 90% of the time, I never use the private side of things. I use unlisted frequently, but I don't use the private, because if I want more than 30 people, whatever the limitation is, I don't want to be, I don't want to cause a problem there. You can also schedule videos to broadcast or premiere at a certain time, and that's a cool way to do things, because especially if you're not comfortable with doing live video, but you want to do a live-like video. So you do a live video, you go in and edit your content, and then you come back and you hit schedule. It will post at the time that you want, and again, it has a premiere button or icon on there, so that lets people know you have something coming. Select a category. Most of those are pretty broad, so it's how-tos, or there's a few, but most everything I put in how-tos, that's the majority of it. But you might have some other things that yours fit. Video subtitles. This is a piece that's often overlooked, and because what I want to do is I want to make sure that Google understands the transcription of my video. That gives them a better chance of indexing it. So I use, I activate the video subtitles. And so you would go into add a language, and then it will automatically use the automatic option. It'll automatically go through your video and transcribe it. And it does a pretty good job, but you do need to go back in and edit those captions, because it may not understand, sometimes it doesn't understand my Southern accent very well. So if that's the case, I have to go back in and edit it and make sure everything is adjusted correctly. But it's pretty simple. You just go through and follow along and make the corrections as needed. You can also create an end card so that when your video reaches, let's say, 30 seconds from the end, or a minute from the end, it puts up an option where people can say, hey, do you want to subscribe and get more of my videos? Here's a subscribe button. Or do you want to watch more of my videos? Here's the play next button. So end cards are really cool, and they're free to use. You just have to plug them in. You can also create playlists of your videos. So for example, I do a weekly webinar for realtors, and I have a whole playlist full of for realtor videos. So you can create a playlist, and then you can embed that playlist. I do that for a particular client that's an artist, and so she does a weekly mini art lesson. And so what I do is I created a playlist for mini art lessons. I embedded that playlist. It's a YouTube list. I embedded that playlist on her webpage, and now anytime she uploads a new video, it automatically puts it in the playlist, and she adds it to the playlist. It automatically adds it to her website. I don't have to go back in and do anything to it. So playlists are a cool way to do things. So a couple of real final things: using your videos, embed them in YouTube. Our Vimeo videos, you can grab the code. It's very simple. If you're using WordPress, a lot of the plugins, there are plugins that will let you do it, but basically you just grab the code. When you click share under your video, it'll give you an embed code. You go to your website, post that in. If you use one of the plugins, like the plugin I use, all I have to do is plug in the URL for the video, and it automatically embeds it in my website. So it's really easy to use. You want to post directly to the platform that you want to use. In other words, that's what's called native video. You don't share it to YouTube and then share the YouTube link to Facebook and the YouTube link to LinkedIn. They don't like that. It's taking time off of their site. So just post the video to Facebook, post it to YouTube, post the same video to Facebook, the same video to LinkedIn. That way you're still getting the benefit of the video. You're getting better coverage from each of the social media sites, because now you're getting direct, you're using content directly on their platform. And then repurpose your video to Facebook and LinkedIn if it fits the criteria. Maybe if maybe it's a blog post that you did and you want to, you put it in your blog, but then repurpose it over to the social media sites. A couple of recommendations for software that I use or that are available. iMovie is just a simple editor for Mac users. Movie Maker is a simple editor for Android users. Shotcut is a video editor that is free. Maybe gives you a little bit more information, a little bit more things you can work with tool-wise. OBS is a free software that will let you screenshot, screencast, Facebook Live. You can record video. You can move between a live screen, like I started at the beginning, to share screen and back and forth. It does have a little bit of a learning curve to figure it out, but it's a cool program. And if you're doing a lot of videos, it's great for that. But right now, I tell you, Zoom is still one of the best tools to use for that. To do your webinars. I mean, I've done videos directly off of Zoom. I've gone and I wasn't doing live. I just did a meeting with just me, and I recorded the video. I used my green screen background because I didn't want to do, I wasn't going to do a lot of editing. And so I was able to go in that way uh, and, and just do my video right there. And then in some cases, I have pulled it over into my editing software. I use Adobe Premiere Pro, which is a little bit more pricey, and it definitely has a steeper learning curve. I've also used Camtasia. That's about a $300 editing software, but it does a wonderful job. So also keep in mind with Zoom, if you do it Zoom, you can download the video and the audio track separate. So if you want to do a podcast, then you can share the audio in your podcast as well. So just a couple of software recommendations for there. So I've got a challenge for you to wrap up. I know it took a little bit longer today, but I have a challenge. I want to challenge you to create a video telling people what you do different, what makes your business unique. We talked about that last week, those of you that were on the LinkedIn webinar, and we talked about how important it was to get that message about, what makes you different, how you stand out. So I challenge you to create a video telling people what you do different, what makes you unique, what's special about your business. Make it 1 minute, 2 minutes at the most, maybe 30 seconds is all you need. But then once you get that done, go over to my Facebook page, my Ninja Marketing Dojo, facebook.com/Ninja Marketing Dojo, post it there. And then I will get a notice that you've posted it. I'll approve it, and then let people see it from there. If you want, you can go back and revisit the page, see if other people have posted their videos there. And then if you're agreeable to it, I'll share your video on my other pages and post them out so that people can see more about who you are, what you do. So a little challenge for you. Let's see how many of you are willing to take me up on the challenge. So as always, here's my contact information. Reach out to me if you need me for anything. The video replay of this will be available on the Ninja Marketing Dojo site. It will show up there probably later, probably lunchtime or so. And then you'll be where you can go see there's a section there for free webinars. As always, I'm really starting to focus now on getting the content. With all the content I've been creating lately, I'm focusing a lot more on building up the library inside the Ninja Marketing Dojo to make that a truly valuable resource. So once I really have that up and running, I'll let you guys know if you're interested. It'll be a place where you can go find a lot of information on just about anything you can think of in the marketing realm. So keep in mind that's coming soon. If anybody has any questions, I will answer those now. Otherwise, thank you guys for coming. Appreciate you taking your time, and I will do another one of these next week. I always kind of have to figure the topic I'm going to do and decide what strikes me as something I think is timely or important to do. So if no other questions, then thank you guys for taking your time, and I will see you guys next week.